Once was a land of woe and strife, where the people were bereft of hope. They prayed to their gods of might and light to deliver the heroes of old. Instead they got heroes. Did you hear the quotes in my voice of moral ambiguity? They may help or may not help you at all. Depends on what's in it for them. They kick and they punch and they maul and they smash. They lie and they scheme and they burn and they slash. Succeed or fail, it adds to the tale. Dungeons and Debacle starts now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Dungeons and Debacles podcast. I'm your host and dungeon master, Kevin. Going around the table, John.
Hey, I'm probably going to have some difficulties. The kitten is feeling feisty today. Despite the distraction, I will be playing Alunodas, Elven monk.
And Blake.
My name is Blake, and I'll be playing Juliet, the eldritch knight / wizard Dragonborn.
And joining us today is Nathan.
Hello, I'll be playing Brahkul, the half-orc barbarian.
Okay, so last time on Dungeons and Debacles podcast, you had fought a paladin of Arathis. It was a pretty awful battle. I guess I know what it takes to take a bunch of you cats down, because we ended up killing the bard, Alexander. You chased down a elven wizard who had ran from the battle, who tells you that he was basically conscripted and kidnapped and brought into this whole thing, that he didn't want to fight, and this paladin was mad. He had lost his mind after the Temple of Arathis was burned, and the paladin had been going up and down this coast, basically murdering people, accusing them of being Red Talons. The elf, you learned his name was Iolas. After he said he was going to help you raise the bard from the dead, that he knew a priest that owed him a favor to the north in Hollows Point. So that's where you've headed. You entered town and you found a rundown Temple of Ilmater. Once you got inside, you followed him down some steps to look for the priest inside, and as he was leading you and reached the bottom of the steps, he took off running, hitting a lever on the side of the wall and closing the door behind you. That's where you find yourselves now. Question, where's Alexander right now?
Juliet was carrying him in.
Okay,
so his body in my arms. He's over my shoulder. That's what it was.
Okay. So you hear this elf down in this area below the stairs, and hold on, let me move you over to a new map. So
Yes.
From the bottom of these stairs, you're going to hear Iolas shout, "You fools! You're now in the clutches of the Red Talons. Prepare to die." And John, are you the one leading the way right now? Is Alunodas leading the way down the steps?
I don't know.
That's entirely up to you, sir. It's either Juliet or you. So.
I guess so then. Well, I mean, it might make sense to have Juliet lead the way because she's the one carrying the body.
Then yeah, it would be Juliet.
Okay, so Juliet, you are most of the way down the stairs, and you're going to be able to look into this room, and inside you're going to see that it is basically a stone floored and walled room, about 30 feet wide and about 50 feet deep. And from what you can see down in here, there appears to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people down here. You are going to see them look surprised for a moment, hearing Iolas yell this, and then they all start pulling out weapons.
Oh, we're allowed to speak. Okay.
Yeah, if you want to. But you are going to see one of the... there's a big half-orc that is behind Iolas that's starting to move up.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Whoa, wait,
Really?
hold up.
Red Talons?
Yeah, you go.
So Alunodas says that, and you are going to see a lithe figure in a black robe push through the crowd at your right, and is going to jump in front of this half-orc, and then you can see that he's a tall elf with a brown hair and a top knot, and he holds his hand above his head and yells, "Hold!" And the half-orc's, or the half-elf's going to look right at Alunodas and say, "Alunodas, is that you?"
What the? What? What are you doing here? I don't remember his name.
Lagrim Azazim, you made it up, some bullshit name, man.
It's Portuguese, and I was distracted by the kitten. I tried to get rid of the kitten. I think I'm going to have to close the cat door to actually lock him out of the room. Anyway,
you could have made this all easier if you just called him Doug.
Facebook thing. But Doug is not cool. Well, my friend Doug is cool, but it's not a cool name. Well, it kind of is. But not in keeping with the theme.
You two know each other?
Yes, I know Lagramas from the monastery.
And he's going to say, "Are these people with you?"
Yes, these are the Dark Companions. We've been working for Harbinger, collecting the artifacts of the Savior.
He's going to turn around and look at the rest of the people in this room and say, "I vouch for these people. They are with us. Stand down or face me and my brother." And you're going to hear this loud voice from the back of the room say, "Would someone mind telling me what the hell's is going on here?"
I'd like to know, too.
You look, and the voice is coming from a tall female white dragonborn at the back of the room. She's wearing dark robes with gold scroll work up and down the sleeves. Juliet, give me a perception check.
Wait, let me just tell you ahead of time I'm going to fail, so... Hey, a 16, there we go.
Oh, that's plenty. Juliet, you would recognize the holy symbol around her neck as the holy symbol of Tiamat.
Oh my goodness, my heart is alight.
As she says that, Iolas is going to turn around and say, "These people killed the paladin I was controlling to cause chaos along the coast. It was going so well until that little girl stuck a knife in his throat. A dangerous one she is. I ran before they could kill me, and they caught up. Discretion being the better part of valor and all. I decided to surrender and promise them some aid for their fallen comrade. I placed their leader under a geas, the Dragonborn over there, to make her agreeable, and brought him here in hopes he would help me murder them. And here we are."
Talia's just gonna bubble up with laughter. Being called dangerous, she's gonna find it absolutely amazing.
Wait, you cast a spell on me?
Yes.
I don't recall that, but...
I'd be pretty mad if I wasn't so impressed. No wonder you were all nice and friendly.
And
so does this mean you
say,
can't help us bring Alexander back?
And I also going to say, "Well, I didn't lie about that part, but you are all far too trusting. I'm surprised you've got this far. But yes, this is Shar, Our Lady of Tiamat over here. She's about the most powerful you'll meet this side of the Black River."
Julia is going to kneel in reverence.
Talia is going to say, "I knew I should have stuck a knife in you while you slept."
And Iolas is just going to turn around and look at you, and he's going to back a couple of steps up behind the half-orc. The white dragonborn in the back is going to say, "Thank you for the introduction, Iolas, but would somebody mind telling me who these people are and what you're doing here?"
Oh, my name is Juliet. This is my young lord Talia, our friend Alunodas, and we are the Dark Companions, Red Talons, like yourselves.
Red Talons? How do I know any of this is true? What proof do you have of
I have a note here. And Juliet's gonna pull out the note.
I love that she's rummaging through her pockets while still having Alexander's corpse over her shoulder.
Loggermouse.
He's like searching through one pocket, shifts the corpse to the other soldier, searches through the other pocket.
So, your Loggermouse is going to say, I've already vouched for Alunodas. We trained together out of Mistress's monastery. He cannot be broken or swayed from our cause. And Shard's going to say, well, that may be, but I wasn't asking you, monk. And the half-elf's going to give a slight bow of the head and steps back, and then he's going to look over to Alunodas and wink.
Alunodas will not understand.
God damn it.
What are you doing?
Well, we showed him the note, correct? Yes, no?
You're handing that parchment over to Shar?
Yes.
Okay, so...
Everything is in order. We come with full power.
We're
and
here on
vested
orders
in
from
us.
Harbinger.
Yeah, what he said.
So the Dragonborn is going to look over this parchment for a minute and say, well, you are who you say you are, or you're insane for carrying this. We don't get much news around here as isolated as we are, but I have heard of you, causing quite the ruckus down south. And that temple in Kala that paladin was a tizzy about. Was that you as well?
It was indeed.
Is Juliet still not claiming that?
You know what? He can have this one. Alunodas can have this one.
Oh, don't be so modest. You're the one who killed the bishop, burned them to death in the fire.
All right,
as he was trying to run away. And then you stole their robes, and you've been wearing them and pretending to be a priest. Oh, it's been so much fun.
The whole dress-up thing has been pretty fun.
And now Talia gets to dress up as a bat.
So exactly what does your cell do here?
Oh, stirring the pot here, stirring the pot there, causing general chaos. That's what Iolas was doing down south with the paladin who came into the town about a month ago. It was too good of an opportunity to blame all these murders on him. I would ask you the same. What are you doing here?
We're on our way to Faydale, looking for the boots of Faydale.
Ah, yes. It's a powerful artifact, I hear. I also hear that there's a bounty for it, and many of the other lost artifacts.
Yes, that's going to be annoying and inconvenient, but we'll work around it and kill whoever we have.
Iolas is going to speak up, and he gives this nervous chuckle. He's like, oh well, isn't this just a comedy of errors? Seems we're all on the same team after all. Is my face as red as that Dragonborn? All that subterfuge for nothing. I release you, Juliet. And the elf's going to wave a dismissing hand at you, Juliet, and you feel this tingling go away that was almost imperceptible until you felt it go.
Huh. I feel literally not different at all, but thanks.
I'm kind of surprised you're not angry.
I can appreciate magic in all its forms.
So Char's going to say, so what are you doing here specifically?
Traveling from Ash Marsh up to Faydale, like you said. Except, of course, we were interrupted by your paladin, Tool, and you killed our Alexander person.
So Char's going to say, I can raise your friend from the dead with the power that Tiamat has blessed me with, and would do so considering the importance of your task, and Iolas' part in impeding it. His life may very well be forfeit for it, even though he was ignorant of you and your purpose. And Iolas is going to chime in and say, but I made the sign when we first met. And he's going to make this sign of two crossed downward fingers in front of him, like two downward facing talons, and say, and they didn't react at all other than that elf over there telling the paladin to fuck off and attacked. This is not my fault. If anything, they should be apologizing for me for breaking my toy.
Just be lucky we didn't stab you when we chased you down.
And he's going to give you another look and like move another step back behind this half-orc.
Yeah, I'm not saying that if you keep on making excuses, we'll let Talia do whatever she wants to you, but shush.
And Cher's going to say, yes, silence, mage. You're digging your grave now with a spade and not a spoon. And she's going to give that Iolas a hard look, and you see some frost puff up from her nostrils, and she's going to turn back to you and say, "As I was saying before, I was interrupted by a possibly dead man. I can bring back your friend, but there's a problem."
There always is.
Yes, I don't have an essential component. I don't suppose you have an exquisite diamond with you.
Just our sparkling personalities.
I'm afraid that won't be sufficient, Elf.
How fine must the diamond be? I have a 50 gold piece run somewhere in my pockets.
Shifting the corpse, rummaging.
This probably won't be enough. I kind of scuffed it.
She's going to look at it and say, "That's not nearly enough. It has to be worth at least 500 gold pieces."
Well, certain there's a rich asshole around here that's probably going to be willing to donate to the cause once we're done with it. Think we can find one?
I don't know that there's anyone in this town that has that kind of money. We're pretty of meager means around here for most of the town. Even if we had the gold to purchase one, which we don't, I don't think there would be one available in this whole town. How long has it been since he fell?
A day? 2? 3? Lost count, honestly.
She's going to look at you and give you a look that's kind of like, "Oh, okay, well, that's good." And she's going to say, "May I examine him?"
Oh, surely, sister.
So,
Juliet's going to hand the corpse off to wherever it can be placed on the floor or if necessary.
You see there's a table over to the north of the room that you could put him on.
All right, perfect.
And you walk over the table, and you're going to see some of these people down here move out of the way. And now that you've got time to relax a little bit, you're seeing all kinds of races down here. You're seeing halflings and humans and half-elves, and of course an elven monk, and then that half-orc. They all appear to be armed, but not in the best of dress. Not exactly like vagrants, but they seem pretty poor here. So you sit Alexander down on the table. Shar is going to go over and look at him and put her hand on his head and open up his eyes to look inside his eyes, and then lift up his arms, make sure, rigor mortis hadn't set in. She's going to grasp her holy symbol in one hand, and she puts her other hand on Alexander's chest, and the holy symbol glows with a dim reddish light as she closes her eyes. After a moment, her eyes open in shock and the reddish light fades. She pulls his belt around and looks at the sheathed dagger at Alexander's side, and she studies it for a moment with ginger fingers holding the sheath like she's holding a viper. And after a few minutes, she lets the dagger go and shakes her hands as if she's trying to shake something vile off of them. And she's going to say, "His soul is still trapped here, in this dagger, with something else. This complicates things." And Nifron's going to clear his throat and speaks up and says, "The dagger binds a demon. It appears he's now bound as well. A shame. Have you heard of the tragedy of Jerk the Entertainer?" And
I think it's a story that they normally tell me.
Char's going to say, "Yes, I know of this tale." And Nifron's going to say, "The dagger belonged to the halfling. According to this man, he knew not what it was. It seems he is part of the tale now." And Char's going to hiss and say, "How long has he been in possession of this abomination?"
That's a very good question.
So
Anyone know how long it's been? Since I got out of the crypt? It's got to be, a month ago? Months?
It would probably be about 5 months ago.
Yeah, back when you killed the half-elf, the warlock.
Yeah, well, right? Forgettable characters.
It's amazing he's lasted this long without going insane or killing all of you. I can free his soul from this dagger, as it seems that's tied his body to this plane. But his soul's divided between the two, the dagger and his husk. But releasing him from the curse is beyond even me. His body is in excellent shape for being dead for, what did you say, 2 days?
Oh,
Something
yes.
like that.
Our friend Nifron here cast some kind of spell to stop him from decaying.
Nifron's going to say, "I put him in a gentle repose." That explains it. You have training as a priest elf? And he says, "No." Then how? And he cuts her off and he says, "My business is my own, priestess."
Well, very well, as you would have it. As I've said, we do not have a diamond, and the nearest one I would think would be in Ashmarsh. I do not think you can make it there and back in time for me to bring him back.
Iolas is going to speak up.
There is one place in Hollis Point that might have a diamond, but I shudder to think about it.
And there's silence in the room for a while, and he's going to swallow hard. He's going to say,
There could be one in the Silverlight Manor.
The people in the room get a mutter and groan, and the priestess shakes her head and wipes her brow with her hand, and he's going to raise his voice and say, I know, it's a long shot, but you know the stories about how rich they were, and it's just been sitting in the mansion for decades. It would take a braver elf than me to go in there, but you know it's unspoiled. Anyone in this town had a diamond like that, you know it would be them.
That sounds promising.
He scans the crowd, and they're all kind of like looking away from him, and then he looks back at the priestess and says, Well, am I wrong? Dragonborn's going to shrug her shoulders and say,
He isn't wrong, but instead of raising one man, I would be raising 5.
That is, if your bodies could be recovered. And Iolas is going to say, But there's only 4 of them. And her eyes narrow and say, The Dragonborn's eyes narrow, and she looks at Iolas and say,
Well, you would be going with them.
He swallows hard and lowers his head and says, Well, never mind. Forget I said anything.
That does bring up a good point. We're still down a person. If we could grab one of you, a bunch of you, to come with us, I mean, that would be really helpful.
And Shard's going to say,
I don't think you know what you're getting into.
What's so concerning about this Silverlight?
Well, they're Hollow Point's dirty little secret. No one talks much about it because it's considered bad luck unless it's told as a story to frighten children to get them to behave. I mean, a few mean-spirited parents will tell their children they'll send them to the Silverlight Manor if they misbehave. But it definitely isn't a tale told to outsiders. All that to say, it's haunted and cursed. Many have tried to loot it in the past, but no one who's entered to discover its secrets have been seen again.
But they'd have treasure and books. And magic, and a diamond. The diamond is what's really important.
Possibly. Iolas knows the tale better than anyone. I'll let him tell it.
Iolas is going to swallow hard and say, Well, I was a young man when it happened, just 40 years ago. The house, and the town for that matter, were ran by the Silverlights then. They were Lord Fano and Lady Shalana Silverlight, elves of great wealth and pedigree. Fino was the son of Castian Silverlight and came from the north and founded this town about 200 years ago. I'm told I'm a cousin of the family, though I would not claim it now. I won't bore you with the begots and begets. The tale goes like this. Lady Silverlight was barren and could not bear a child. It was a shame she bore for nigh 30 years. Without an heir, the control of the Hollis Point was in question. At that point, Hollis Point was ruled by the Silverlights, not a council as it is now. The reason is obvious at this point. Years went by and Fino seemed unconcerned and indifferent to his wife and their lineage. There was a maid in the house by the name of Alva. She was a human and she bore 2 half-elven children. She was unmarried and claimed the fathers of her children were passing elves coming through the household who were guests of the Silverlights, as there were many, and she claimed she was seduced by them. Lady Silverlight did not ask too many questions, as it was shameful that their guests took such advantage of their help, and knowing that elves, by nature, are beautiful and persuasive. The children were raised in the house, and Lady Silverlight treated them as her own, as she was without child, and her motherly instinct overcame her. Rumors had been going on for years. The maid's children were actually Lord Fano's, but she ignored them. That was beneath her, and beneath her husband to have relations with someone so low. That was until one fateful night when she was awakened by nature's call and found her husband not in their bed. Surely, she thought, he was up late in his study running figures about the town's finances. When she didn't find him in his study, she went downstairs and found him leaving the maid's room late in the night. The story says she did not confront him immediately, and instead went to the parlor, where above the hearth, Fino displayed his rapier. She took the rapier down and went to the maid's room, where she slew the maid and her children before walking upstairs and slaying her husband. Then, in her grief and shame, threw herself upon the sword. Of course, this is all stories and conjecture. No one really knows for sure. And that is how the tale is told. After a few days of no one hearing from them, their bodies were discovered and buried in the graveyard outside this temple. But all those who have entered the manor after that have not been seen again. No one has dared enter that home for years, but their wealth is well known. If there's a diamond of that quality in this shitty little town, it's there.
It's quite the harrowing tale.
Probably just a really awesome party in there. People don't want to leave. But it sounds like a promising lead.
And do forgive me for saying that we tend to be a bit more brave than the average person. We have dealt with things more terrifying than ghosts before.
We killed a dragon. And a mare.
You say you killed a dragon, and you're going to see Shar's face like crinkle up a bit and her eyes narrow, and she's going to stare at you.
We shouldn't talk about that because it's not appropriate. We were attacked and we defended ourselves, and we treated it with the utmost respect once it was dead.
Yep, we skinned it.
Oh.
You're going to see some frost like puff from this priest's nostrils, and then realizing that she's still got that parchment, she's going to take it and hand it back to you, and then she's not going to say anything.
I am shamed, sister. Forgive me.
And she's going to say,
It's not my place to forgive you, but it is Lady Tiamat's judgment that I would be worried about.
I still believe you're a conduit for her will, but you're right. I shall be in prayer for a few days. That's for sure.
and she says,
You worship Tiamat as well?
Why, yes. Our Lady Wormus is, well, of all Dragonborn. Well, at least, us of the chromatic type.
Tell me at least the dragon was a metallic. A silver, I hope.
It was immune to lightning.
It's
a silver thing, right?
I believe it was a blue one.
what'd you say?
Blue one?
He blew a dragon.
So she's just going to wave a dismissing hand as if she's done with this conversation, or at least this topic of conversation.
Yes, so about this manor, is there any special key that we need to enter it, or is it simply open and just no one goes there?
I don't know if it's locked, but I do know it's boarded up.
So we'll need a crowbar. That'll be easy enough to get. Let's go.
Okay, so are you going to the manor? Are you saying that to her?
I don't see why not. Anyone have any objection?
I still would like to bring someone along, but you can go and scout out the place if you want. We'll
sure.
be having quite the conversation later, you and I.
So Char's going to say,
Well, since you know so much, Iolas, you will go with them and take some muscle. Brahkul will do.
and you look over and you see the half-orc that Iolas is standing behind, kind of look over to Char and give this almost a shocked face, and then begin to say something before Char gives him a look, and then he closes his mouth. Nathan, give me a description of what Brahkul looks like.
He's about average build, essentially about 6 feet 5 inches, and I'm carrying a. Would great axe be too much of a stretch on my back?
No, not for your size.
And I'm wearing traditional barbarian garbs, if you know what I mean by that.
Skins and skulls?
Yes.
So how does Brahkul react to this news that he's going to be going on this excursion?
Like you said, at first he was shocked, but once he gives it a little time to think about it, he actually this would be a good opportunity to get some coin, you know?
Does he say anything in particular, or?
Brahkul shall accompany you.
Brahkul. Nice to meet you, Brahkul.
So, Iolas was going to say, fine. And then, well, it's about 5 o'clock now. We can't just, go walking into that house. We should probably wait till after dark so no one sees us go in.
People around here are... Yeah, it makes sense. Might as well give Juliet a time to refresh her spells. Or whatever she needs.
I don't think you've casted anything. At this point, you've had a couple long rests.
Not even a disguise spell or something while walking through town?
We said, fuck it.
Okay.
Remember, we were trying to trick this guy over here into thinking that we were legit. So, putting on disguise would have defeated the purpose.
Yeah, and I'd also like to point out, none of you fuckers did an insight check on this guy the entire time you were with him spewing his bullshit.
Is it wrong of me if I said that if you hadn't told me that I was under a spell that time, we would have just discarded his body off the cliff by now?
Oh, you are excluded from this because you were under a geas. Which, before that episode started out, if you guys remember, I dropped everybody down to the secret channel and told him to roll a wisdom save, and he failed. I was like, okay, you're under a geas. Play along with all of this.
Well, Alunodas has good insight, but he needs to have a reason to roll insight, which means he'd need to roll insight to know he needs to roll insight. So it's kind of an insight inception kind of thing.
So meta.
Talia kind of accepted that Nifron was okay with taking this guy hostage. To be fair.
Alright, so are you guys waiting around till after the cover of night to sneak into this place?
Yep.
We're going to have to. Is it a full moon out?
Actually, it's a new moon. There's no light.
Well, we're gonna need some lights then, because, I guess I have torches? No, I actually threw all my torches away, using it on various things.
Oh, and the only person in the party that could cast light is dead.
That's not true, I can cast light.
Oh, okay.
It's just like, why would I waste the effort when I could just light a fire and be mundane?
It's a cantrip.
So minimal effort.
Alright, so, about 5
But if we're
hours.
going at night, that means Talia will always be able to turn into a bat, no matter what.
This is true.
Once. Until dawn.
Okay, so are you guys doing anything to prepare, or are you just headed to the manor?
I'm gonna eat a kale salad.
Yummy.
Disgusting vegetarian elves.
Alright,
Just for that, I'm gonna make it a kale smoothie.
So you guys wait until about 10 o'clock. So you're going to head south from... You're currently up here in the corner where I'm pinging at number 9. This is where the temple is. So you're going to head to the southeast and then down this main road over here. And Iolas is leading you. And you get down to here and you're going to make a turn to the west. And you're going to travel down this row of houses, which kind of seems like some of the more affluent places in town until you get to a point, and then you see some newer construction, and it looks like businesses and some smaller houses until you get over here to this large manor house. Right now there's no one on the street this time of night. And you're going to see a tall stone wall that surrounds this manor house. The wall is about 6 feet tall. It's not tall enough to keep somebody out if they wanted to get in, but it's enough to afford some privacy. And for now, the town's pretty grateful for not seeing what is inside this courtyard.
I don't get it. New construction near the haunted house? These people have no business or real estate.
Well, it's one of those matters of okay, well, the land here is really cheap, so if you don't have any money, you can build over here.
And people are trying to gentrify it? I get it.
So you're going to walk to the end of this road, and you're going to find the entrance to this place in this wall. It's a wrought iron gate with a chain and a stout lock holding it together. Come up to it and see that it's together, and it's a pretty stout chain.
Talia?
Let's see if I can pick this lock. It's a 10.
So you get the pick in there, and you're thinking like you're just like rattling around and you're not doing a very good job, but this is a pretty poor lock from what you've seen. You think it's probably more of a security theater than anything else. But there's like lots of wiggle room inside this thing, and then you're able to find the latch and pop it open.
I think she should have advantage because Iolas is scared of her. I think gives her a boost to her con.
It is kind of hilarious that he's scared of me. That makes me so happy.
You're a murder machine.
You killed a fire demon.
I'm also adorable. Can we not forget that guy?
So the lock
That just
pops
makes it worse.
The lock pops open and the chain falls to the ground and kind of makes like a clattering noise as it does this long like slide off the gate like a slinky. It's like and it's making a lot of noise. You look around, you don't see any lights come on, and the dark windows of the places around here. So are you going in?
Happily.
So you enter the courtyard of this place, and there's a cobblestone path in front of the house. The grass here has been left to its own. It's at least 4 feet tall right now, and you can't see anything else in the yard except for some wild rose bushes against the house. There's currently no blooms or flowers on them, just brambles and thorns. And the house itself is still beautiful, even though it's not maintained. It's a stone 2-story building with a patinaed copper roof. Oddly enough, the windows in this house are still intact. You would think bored kids in this town would have broken them with rocks by now. As you approach the door, it's a large, dark wood double door with elven carvings of great trees and some words written on it that you recognize that are Elven. So Alunodas would be able to read them, and anyone else who can read Elven, they say, "May all that enter here come and go in peace."
In peace, you say? Well, that's nice of them. Seems very friendly.
And across the doors are 2 rough wooden planks that have been nailed in to keep people out, or something in.
Ba ba ba.
Oh.
Did you just a woo?
Werewolf howl.
Gotcha.
Alright, let's get these boards off.
Did you bring the crowbar?
We brought you.
Um,
Thieves' tools include crowbars, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do. Talia would have one.
so
A
should
magic crowbar at this point, probably.
should I just use my thieves' tools again, or?
You're going to have to pry the wood off this door. It's not like lock-picking something.
Yeah, I'll just pry it off.
Yeah, I'm gonna hand my crowbar off to someone who's, not 12.
Give me a strength check.
Me?
Whoever is prying this off.
Natural 1.
Defeated by a door.
Yep.
Hey, Brahkul. What do you say? Want to show us off how strong you are?
Brahkul shall give it a try.
Yeah, so that's a 16. So, Brahkul is just going to grab the crowbar and with one hand just pry the wood off the door. No problem. Both of the planks. And they clatter to the ground. As it seems, no one's making any sort of effort whatsoever to be quiet getting in this house.
They'll just think it's the haunting.
And Iolas is going to speak up. He says, "Are you guys trying to wake the entire neighborhood?"
Nope, just the dead.
Well, I'm sure if there's dead in there, they're pretty awake. Stealth mission, guys.
We're just gonna come over here and they're just gonna think we're ghosts or something.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Nothing
get
can possibly go wrong.
Either that or we get an audience as people watch us fools try to break into this place.
Try Shema, we've already broken in. Let's go.
We head on inside.
Okay, you go to open the door and it's locked.
Well, that's redundant. Talia!
On it, but this time I'll try to be quiet about it. 23.
Yeah, you stick your tool in there and you're not in it for more than maybe 3 seconds and it pops.
Alright guys, it's unlocked.
Okay, let's open the door. Juliet opens the door and leads the way.
Alright, so you walk inside and it's pitch black in here. You can't see anything. There was a little bit of light from, torches in the town from the outside that you were able to see to get into the place. But once you get inside, you can't see anything. What you do notice, though, is the smell. It smells old and musty, and your nose fills with dust as you walk inside. You also get the faint hit of old decay from flesh.
Ew. Someone should clean up in here. Oh, right. I should probably provide some light for us. Juliet is going to use Seus Maximus and cast light on
Lumos. Spell is
What's
Lumos. The Harry Potter spell is Lumos.
Very well. I wasn't with the Harry Potter crowd, man.
You're not nerdy enough for this podcast.
That right there is a clip for the ad.
Nerd shamed. Juliet is going to be the one holding the light this time around.
What's the radius on it?
It is a 20-foot radius, and then dim light for an additional 20 feet.
So
Yep.
you can work your double circle magic there, Cap.
Let there be light.
And thus, the entire house was covered with this fucking bullshit from Roll20, and we can't see shit. Oh no, we can see. That's good.
Yeah, it's the Fog of War, man. So you pop up your light spell, and what you're going to see in front of you is the floor and everything in this entryway is coated in a layer of dust. Give me a perception check.
If it is in that area of darkness and it relies on, the area of dim light, we have disadvantage, except for our elven friend here.
21. I see that's a dings.
Maybe 3.
Well, it wasn't a crit fail.
That's, you know what? I'll take. That is a very good point. You have a very positive attitude, sir. I like it.
Brahkul, you want to give a perception check? 9.
It's Brahkul, Kevin. Not
Brahkul.
Brahkul.
All right, so
Brahkuli.
Alunodas and Talia, you would notice on the floor there appears to be several sets of footprints, but in various stages of like age. You can see some that appear to be very old, that they've been filled up with dust, but you can still see the impression, and some more recent ones, but it still appears like it's been years since anyone's tried to come in here. The dust is so thick that you can still see their footprints.
So, plenty of people have come in here. Nobody recently. Do any of the footprints head back out the door?
They do not.
Ominous.
You can check in, but you can't check out.
Welcome to the hotel with a bear rug.
I was gonna say insert guitar solo here.
Such a dusty place.
All right, so what are you guys doing?
Well, we
Walk
will move
forward.
up, but like Scooby-Doo sneaky style.
I just want to develop a mechanic where you walk in one door and then you come out another door at the opposite side of the hallway. Lee Ullman's Scooby-Doo door. All
We
right.
are now out of the foyer and into the main hall. Ooh, corpses.
So you walk into what appears to be the main hall of this mansion. The light doesn't extend to the corners, but what you're going to see, it's a very large room. The light extends about 40 feet, and you can see the back wall, and the size of the room here is probably about 50 feet by 50 feet. There is wood flooring. You see plaster on the walls that is white. You're going to see multiple paintings and tapestries in this room. It's a vaulted ceiling that goes up about 10 feet. And its highest point is probably about 15 feet up. You're going to see a very exquisite crystal chandelier with places for candles sitting inside of it. The room appears to be richly furnished with chairs and tables and sofas in the room. More of the same dust. And you're going to see footprints going to the east and to the west. And at the end of those footprints, you're going to find corpses. To the east over here, you're going to find 3 corpses. And judging by the dust of the footprints, they all came here at different times. And they've all died in this area over here to the right of the couches in this grand entryway.
What about the corpse in the northwest?
So, to the north, directly ahead of you, you are going to see a fireplace currently with no fire in it. And then you're going to see a bar in the northwestern corner. And you are going to see a corpse of a half-elf. That it looks like he walked directly over here to the bar when he came in, judging by the footprints, and he died in that spot.
So there's some corpses here. Probably nothing to be concerned.
Give me a perception check.
18.
14.
You can try and perceive things too, Nathan.
Yeah, no, just messing with some stuff.
So that is a 8 for Nathan. All right, so Alunodas, you are also going to notice a couple more sets of footprints. You're going to notice another set of footprints that goes to this closed door over here to the east in the bottom corner. And then you're going to notice 2 more sets of footprints that go over here to the west bottom corner. The west corner directly across from you. And then you're going to find another set of footprints that basically follows this corpse's footprints in the northwest corner, except they go to a door directly below him.
When you say below, do you mean like a trapdoor underneath him, or the one way down to the south?
So there's a set of footprints that goes here, 2 sets of footprints that go here, 1 set of footprints that's not these 3 corpses that goes to this door over here to the east.
Ooh, check it out. There's footprints going all over the place to this door there, that door there, and that door over there.
Oh, and there's
what are these 2 things on the south?
There's also a set of footprints that goes to this door right here.
So those are both sets of doors? Those in the 2 south walls?
Yeah, so there is a door here from where you can see, door here, a door here, door here, and 2 double doors here. And then, of course, a door right here. You can see, also looking around this great room, over here, there appears to be a stairwell. Looking around the walls, you are going to see paintings. You are going to see tapestries, and over on the east side, you are going to see a rapier hanging on the wall.
All in all, it's a pretty nice place.
Oh yeah, I mean,
That's
this place would be beautiful if it wasn't, abandoned and ran down and covered in dust. It's a real fixer-upper opportunity. You could flip this place because in this part of Suel, you don't have to disclose that somebody died in the place. You have to ask that.
Okay, so one ground rule before we go out and about. We are not going to do something which I'm pretty sure Adel would have done if he were still alive, bless his soul. We're not going to decapitate every corpse we find. I just feel like that might be a little excessive, and I'm sure that there are no real ghosts in here, just a bunch of stupid people who died.
I don't know, that actually sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah, I think we should, well, maybe not the corpses. Corpses might not be a problem. They've just been lying there all this time. But whatever killed them is probably a problem.
Would you like to inspect the corpses?
Probably a good idea.
I'm less effective at that.
A 21 to see what these corpses would happen to them.
If you look over here to the... where are you starting? You starting over here, up top? Or
I was counterclockwise, so the guy in the bottom right.
Okay, so you go over to investigate, and as you move up, Iolas and Nifron are going to like step out here to try to stay in the light. But 21 investigation. It's pretty obvious that this person died from deep stab wounds. You would think that the blade or the dagger is probably about 2 inches or an inch and a half thick, and the stab wounds go all the way through the body.
Wow, that is quite the penetration. Holy cow. Let's move up to these next guys.
You walk up to these next guys, and pretty much the same. They look like they have been stabbed through the chest and heart.
Now, there's a sword on the wall, is that correct?
That's correct.
Is the sword rusted or bloody? I feel like it probably would be a weapon that you would use to make these kinds of food.
You want to go over and inspect it?
Sure.
Alright, so as you go over and inspect it, it is going to start rattling on the wall and rattle faster and faster and faster until it's just like this jerky up and down motion on the little hooks that are holding on to the wall, and then it's going to fly up into the air and spin and come directly at you.
On guard. Shit.
So it is going to stab down on you, and that is a 17. Does that hit your armor class?
That will hit.
You are going to take 5 points of piercing damage as this thing flies up towards this the high ceiling, which is probably 12 feet tall in this, and come diving straight down at you and stabs you in the shoulder. And then it is going to pull out and then flip around and take swirl around again and come at you. You want to make an attack on it?
Absolutely. Now, I'm not really prepared for this, so I'm going to use just an unarmed attack, unless I do have time to pull out my glaive and just go at it.
You would be able to pull out your glaive as a bonus action.
Okay. A 16 to hit.
That does not hit.
Okay.
As you take a swing with this heavy glaive, which is made out of adamantium, and it's super heavy. You swing down at it, and it just nimbly flies out of the way. And it kind of raises its tilt up and dances around like it's mocking you. Does anybody else want to do anything?
I could use some help over here. This sword is dancing on its own.
I'll throw a dagger towards it.
Okay.
Worse ideas have been told. This could work.
You are just out of range from where you are right now.
Oh, I'll scoot there.
Okay.
And that's a 25 to hit.
That hits.
For 15.
Okay, so you take your dagger and throw it through the air, and it's almost like a parry. But like you hit the blade, and the iron and steel ring off of each other, and then your blade's going to come flying back to your hand. So now it is going to flip around and see where that blade came from, and it's going to come screaming at you.
Of course it is.
And that is a 20 to hit.
That hits, but I'll use Uncanny Dodge.
Okay, so that is 4 points of damage reduced to 2, as it basically chases your dagger as the dagger is returning to your hand, and slams into your arm up above in your forearm where the dagger flew back to.
Guys, what the fuck how do we kill this thing?
With great difficulty and smashing.
Hey, mage.
Yes?
You know magic. Fix this.
Iolas is going to walk up here and kind of like get behind this couch and duck down, so hoping that the sword doesn't see him, and he's going to cast firebolt at it, and he is going to miss it terribly as this firebolt streams out of his hands, and the sword just raises up and dodges out of the way of this firebolt as it slams into the plaster wall on the opposite side.
I'm gonna say, why didn't I kill you again?
You don't see his reaction because he's ducked down behind the couch. Nifron's moving up, and he is going to come over here because the sword's kind of about 10 feet up in the air right now, and he's going to come over here and jump off of the edge of the couch to try to get enough air to attack this sword. And that's a miss. Going to try to swing with his dagger too, and that's a miss as well. He jumps off of it, but he's just not quite high enough, and he's going to fall down to the floor on his feet. Brahkul, do you want to try to anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna take out my great axe and try to hit it. 18, I'm guessing.
Yep, so you slash with that axe and you miss. I think you get another attack. You should be able to get 2 attacks at your level.
Alright.
19, that's going to miss too. So you take 2 swings at this thing, and you're just finding air as it dodges around your axe. Juliet, you want to do something?
Yes, absolutely. Juliet is done with the shenanigans. We'll just cast Magic Missile, automatically hit it, and do a bunch of damage. Cast that at level 2, because this thing stabbed me. It's not okay. It's 12 damage.
Alright, so these magical darts come flying out of your hand and slamming into this blade. And you see it stagger back through the air. It looks like it's having some stability problems, but it's still floating around, but it's down near the ground now. And it is going to swing around and attack Brahkul. I'll get that eventually, I swear.
Don't worry, it's Brahkul. Yeah.
That is an 11. Does that hit?
Oh, dear God, yeah.
An 11 hit your armor class?
Nah, I'm not really looking at it. My armor class is 12, apparently.
Okay. So this thing is going to miss you. Talia?
Yep. I'm gonna throw my daggers again. Actually, I'm going to cast Hold. It has to make a wisdom save against 13.
Okay. That's a 14. That's going to pass.
Gosh darn it all to heck.
Oh, hold on. Let me check its stat. I don't think that's right. I rolled a 15, but its wisdom's got to be super low.
Because it's an inanimate object?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's got a negative 3 to wisdom, so yeah, that would affect it. So roll 1d12.
2d12. Because I'm 5th level, and that's 10.
Alright, so you cast this spell, and you see this black smoke pop up around it as it's doing this necrotic damage. And you're going to see it like sputter through the air and try to get away back to its place on the wall, and then you're just going to see it drop and clatter to the ground motionless. And you're going to hear a voice from behind the couch that you recognize as Iolas and says, "Is it dead yet?"
It's inanimate. It's probably not dead, but it's stopped.
Good. And you'll see him rise up from the couch. And as you, are you looking in his direction?
Well, I am now. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'm gonna be looking towards that direction where the voice is.
So, as you look in his direction, you are going to see this little girl apparition appear behind him, and you're all going to suddenly feel the room grow cold. But Talia's the only person who is going to see this ghost as it disappears again.
Guys, I just saw something.
Yeah, you finished off that sword.
No, like, see-through person.
Well, I think that's to be expected.
And Iolas is going to say, is it just me, or does it feel like it got really cold in here all of a sudden?
I mean, I thought it was already freezing cold here, but, we're dragging on.
Yes, I have felt the difference in the air as well.
Well, that makes 2. I suppose there must be some sort of phenomenon. Maybe a sudden winter storm.
Right now, you're towards the end of summer. It's not quite fall yet. Nights are probably about 70 degrees, so you don't think that's it.
It's an El Nino.
Fantasy El Nino. And I think that's probably a pretty good place to end the episode. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dungeons and Debacles podcast. If I could ask a halfling-sized favor, give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. It's the best way to support us. New episodes come out every Monday, so make sure to check your podcast app. Do you have an idea to make the podcast better? Tell us about it on Twitter or Facebook. You can also check out our website to see all the maps, lore, and characters at DungeonsandDebaclespodcast.com. And now a word from our fantasy sponsor.
Greetings, and welcome to the Wizard's Wardrobe. I'm the proprietor, Balak Hyrule, at your service. We have Swell's most unique collection of magical items and potions. Have you ever wanted to fly? We have a potion for that. Have you ever wanted to be strong as a bull? We have an elixir that can make that happen. Did you use a magical item without knowing what it did? We have scrolls that can remove almost any curse. Once there was a young man that found a girdle, and when he put it on, it turned him into a lady. That was quite a shock, I'm sure. We helped him with that too. Oh, where was I? Oh yes, the Wizard's Wardrobe. We have rods and wands and cloaks and robes to fit almost any discerning adventurer's need. And all items have been identified by a certified wizard, so you know you're getting exactly what you paid for. Guaranteed. When you think of magic, think of the Wizard's Wardrobe. We're located on Elm Street in Luscane. And remember, if it didn't come from the Wizard's Wardrobe, who knows what you're getting?
The music you heard on this episode was Not As It Seems, Grave Blow, Anguish, The Chamber, and Nightmare Machine by Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. CreativeCommons.org/licenses/by/3.0.